we are a safe place. Safety is inextricably linked to relationship, it's fundamental to community, and it's integral to us as a church, both as an organisation, but also individually. Now, this core value from the code is extremely important in outworking all the other values in the code and trying to bring this code culture into Revive.
The verse for this value is Ephesians 4:15 and 16. Instead, speaking the truth in love, we will grow to become in every respect the mature body of him who is the head, that is Christ. From him the whole body, joined and held together by every supporting ligament, grows and builds itself up in love as each part does its work. Our Bible verse actually does not mention the word safe or safety in it once. But the reason we felt God put this verse on our hearts is that a safe place nurtures, it supports, it protects, it builds people up in love and fosters growth. Safety is found where people are empowered to grow rather than viewed as a project to fix, built up in love rather than torn down, and supported by others and able to speak the truth in love.
How does that happen? Well, it happens by the whole body fitting together, each doing its own part, helping others grow. It's ensuring that those we are in community with are all growing together. You could think of this a bit as a greenhouse, a place that fosters warmth and protection to allow growth. It's a safe place that we can grow together, to empower others as we look beyond ourselves and see them grow and flourish. A place or an environment that people feel safe to share, safe to be vulnerable, safe to be supported and support others, safe to take a risk, safe to fail, safe to speak up. It's very important to note that this value doesn't say it is a safe place. It says we are a safe place, because safety can only be built through relationship and community. Now, we're big believers that authentic community with a group of people that are a safe place is the best place to be supported practically in life, but also to grow spiritually. It's in that place that unity is fostered and diversity is championed. It's in that place that you can get free, that you will start to become more mature in your faith. It's also the best place to make probably some of the best friends you'll make in your life.
Safety is extremely important. We want to flood Revive Church with safety cues in every environment, every interaction, to help people feel comfortable to share, to have conversations that matter, but also to protect the innocent and vulnerable and fight for injustice. We, as the people that make up Revive Church, are going to be a safe place, a sanctuary for the lost, the vulnerable, and the hurting. The only reason we are is because Jesus, the head of the church, has fit us together. We point people to Jesus, who, as we hear so much in the Psalms, is the place of refuge and safety, that we can put our trust in. Psalm 27:1. The Lord is my light and my salvation, whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life, of whom shall I be afraid?
Whoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust. Psalm 91 verses 1-2.
You are my hiding place. You will protect me from trouble and surround me with songs of deliverance. Psalm 32 verse 7. He will cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you will find refuge. His faithfulness will be your shield and your rampart. Psalm 91:4. Time after time we hear of being able to run into his shelter, his safety, and as the body of Christ we can point people to him. So helping people find Jesus is of paramount importance, but there are also other things that we can do, individually and corporately, to be a safe place. So let's talk about 3 of those things.
So number 1, safeguarding. Every single person has a responsibility for the safeguarding of people in our care as a church and as a charitable organisation. It's the right thing to do. It's also the lawful thing to do. We're all here to ensure everyone is safe and the vulnerable are looked out for. Proverbs 31 verses 8 to 9 says, "Speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves, for the rights of all who are destitute. Speak up and judge fairly. Defend the rights of the poor and the needy." We've said it already, but we just want to reinforce it. This requires everyone in the church to play their part and report any concerns they may have. This is about spotting genuine concerns about individuals, children, and vulnerable adults who are not in a position to make decisions for themselves, and ensure that we play our part in protecting the safety of others physically, emotionally, mentally, and also spiritually. Whilst most church safeguarding stops at protection level, here in Revive, we are warriors. And that means we aren't settling for protection. Ephesians 5:11 has clear instruction to have nothing to do with the fruitless deeds of the darkness, but rather expose them. Now, if we come across something that is potentially harmful, be it physical or spiritual, it will be spotted quickly and it will be removed permanently. There's no wriggle room here at Revive. We are clear, specific, and we have fair and safe processes in place, and we do not tolerate any forms of abuse. This core value expects all of us to be ensuring the safety of others in our care. All of us. Have I said that enough times?
Number 2 is conversations. The way we converse and communicate actually is the vehicle for the creation of safety. One sentence can make all the difference between someone feeling safe and unsafe in a situation. Is that really possible? And the answer is absolutely yes. Proverbs 12 verse 18 teaches the words of the reckless pierce like swords, but the tongue of the wise brings healing. Being wise is both something we can ask God for help with, but also learning some conversational tools that will build safety into the way you talk will truly transform your relationships. This is a big subject and something we're going to be training out at different levels to help everyone to grab hold of some of these principles as we move forward. Often that looks like starting with ourselves. What are we really trying to achieve from this conversation? What is our heart? And we need to remind ourselves that we set our minds on things above, onto God and His kingdom. If our motives are Christ-centered, then our conversation is immediately different to being self-centered. Checking ourselves, our motives and our emotions enables us then to focus not only on what we say, but also how we say it. There are proven studies on people who build safety well in conversation that we can learn from. The book based on these studies is called Crucial Conversations, and we encourage you all to read it. It is literally a life skill book. It's one that, is applicable to everyone.
And finally, number 3, community. Safeguarding and a conversation culture building on safety fosters true, authentic community where we can truly be the Church of Jesus Christ, growing together, sharing together, laughing and crying, being there in the ups and downs. Because, back to the verse, Ephesians 4:15 and 16, speaking the truth in love, we will grow to become in every respect the mature body of Him who is the head, that is Christ. From Him the whole body, joined and held together by every supporting ligament, grows and builds itself up in love as each part does its work. We want to build an atmosphere and an environment where you are safe to be vulnerable and feel heard. In Revive, we call this our kitchen table, a place where family can be family. Community is at the very core of God's plan for His people. He consistently talks about His people, not His persons. And so it makes sense for those close-knit communities to be the place where you can be safe, to be real, the real you. And from that place, with that common goal, that we can grow closer to Jesus.
So let's be a people who build safety at every opportunity, to protect those who are vulnerable, to expose the darkness with the light, to use conversations as the starting place to build safety, which in turn brings strong, thriving, healthy and multiplying groups of disciples, otherwise known as community. That will help each one of us to keep growing to become more Christ-like and full of love for those we are both in community with, but also those in our towns, cities and the nation who don't yet know God. Bye.